What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. And in this video, I'll be taking you through my very own team selection for the upcoming Game Week 32. So Game Week 31 has just ended, and what an absolute emotional roller coaster of a game week that one was. And I'll be starting off this team selection with a quick review of how Game Week 31 actually went. Then I'll be jumping onto all that goodness for the upcoming Game Week 32. I've got 2 free transfers, so I have to make 1 free transfer, and I'll showcase what my current thoughts are at the end of this video. Now, I might not be actually doing a deadline stream for Game Week 32, and therefore the team that you guys see at the end is probably going to be my final team. But as always, stay tuned to my Twitter page for the most up-to-date team as possible if I don't do a deadline stream. But getting back to this team selection, if you guys are interested to see how my team is looking and how Game Week 31 went, sit back, relax, let's get straight into it. So as mentioned, Game Week 31, an absolute emotional roller coaster. I think on Wednesday evening after the games concluded, my overall rank was about 70% down. And by the end of Thursday last night, I ended on a 1k red arrow to 46k. It's a very small kind of red arrow, I think about 2% to be honest. And as mentioned, after Wednesday's fixtures, I was pretty happy with that. Now the overall points scored was going to be 61 and the game week rank was 2.4 million, so very average kind of game week from ourselves. But at least we got 2 free transfers to hopefully get us a green arrow in game week 32. It's a very bad kind of game week for most managers. In the comments down below, let me know how it went. If you guys had Foden, Garnacho, as well as Cole Palmer, you're probably smiling right now. So don't worry if it is a bad game week. We still do have a few game weeks to go, a lot of double game weeks coming up, so you guys can easily make those points back up. I'm going to start off this team selection talking about our bench, because this week we actually were quite reliant on our bench, especially the 2 first options, namely Garnacho as well as Gusto. Now the reason for that is that Saka and Erling Haaland both missed out for the entire game. Erling Haaland was on the bench however, but Saka was not even in the squad. So these 2 options missing out, yes, they might be quite highly owned options, but I kind of needed them to perform because most managers have pretty good sub appearances. I guess like myself with Garnacho for his 14 points. Now with Saka, yet to be seen if he's actually going to be fit. He was actually training before the Game Week 31 fixture, but apparently had a recurrence of that injury. Whereas Erling Haaland, I think he was just kind of given a rest, so Champions League games coming up, he might have been a little bit tired, but at least he's had his rest for the future game weeks. So because Saka and Haaland missed out, I had Garnacho as well as Gusto off the bench, and 14 points for that brace against Chelsea is mighty fine. So honestly, Garnacho kind of saved our game week. I don't own full Foden, so getting an option cheaper that scores almost the same points. Yes, it was a 6-point difference, but at least it's still a double-digit return. So if you guys did watch that kind of game last night, Chelsea vs United was an absolutely mental one. Just happy that Garnacho ended up getting a few returns. Then you might be asking me, aren't I getting Van Hecke instead of Gusto? But yes, Gusto actually featured in the game. He just conceded 3 goals and he also got a yellow card. So I really wish that I put Van Hecke second on my bench, but it is what it is. Thought that Brighton were going to concede. So once again, Garnacho, Gusto off the bench, and that's how we ended up on 61 points. Now starting goalkeeper was actually Petrovic, but Onana outperformed him. Yes, Onana conceded more goals, but he also got a lot more saves. Wasn't really expecting a clean sheet from either of these 2 teams. Petrovic was simply here because I wanted to back the home team. It started off quite good, going 2-0 up, but the rest is all history. So unfortunately, Petrovic also couldn't really rack up that many saves. It was quite an open game, but not a lot of kind of shots on target, and that's why I ended up on only 1 point. Now quite disappointing was going to be another asset in our defensive department, Udogie. Spurs can't buy a clean sheet at the moment, and their attackers seem to be filtering down quite a bit. Now we did buy Udogie for his attacking threat, and that's why I thought there might be the odd clean sheet, but in these easier games, Spurs are looking even worse. Now big thing with Spurs though is the double game week 35 was confirmed. It was actually probable more for kind of game week 36, but it's been moved to game week 35. But we well prepared for that with our triple up in Chelsea and double up in Spurs. So Udogie, even though they can't buy a clean sheet, he won't be going anywhere, as I'll be keeping him for the upcoming double game week. Then the only clean sheet on our defensive department was from the Arsenal man Gabriel. He racked up just the clean sheet points, no bonus. So credit if you guys doubled up or even tripled up on this Arsenal defense. Kind of one of the only teams at the moment that we can rely on for good clean sheet odds, but with only 1 Arsenal defender, I was almost hoping that they blanked. Then the last defender scored an own goal, it's Connor Bradley. I must say though that goal was quite unlucky. The forward headed the ball away from goal into the floor and then went through Kelleher's legs off Bradley. Now Liverpool did win this game 3-1, so it's quite annoying that that goal didn't even matter that much, but it mattered to our FPL team as that wiped out the Bradley clean sheet. But like always, his attacking threat was super strong this week, just unfortunately no attacking returns. I guess like Udogie we got him for those. Now midfield department, Human Son, like I mentioned, Spurs' kind of attacking department is looking pretty bad at the moment. Thought that Son would get an attacking return this game week. Added to this bonus also the fact that Richarlison missed out once again. Son played up front as the centre forward and has been struggling there recently. But Son might be a CAMC option in game week 32, and I'll talk about that shortly. Now we might have not got the Foden hattie, but we got the Palmer hat-trick, a massive 20 points to the Chelsea midfielder. Now I will say that 2 of these goals were from penalties, so he's still quite a pen merchant, but I'm just happy that I picked him up on my wildcard draft. Seems like the only Chelsea asset at the moment to invest in, as my other Chelsea defenders are doing terribly. Now his ownership is pretty high though, so even though he got 20 points, didn't make up that much difference. I think I rose about 100 places because of this hat-trick. Now the biggest disappointment this week was going to be from our captain Mo Salah. His ownership was high, yes, his CAMC ownership was also high, but we still had some effective ownership to catch up on, and therefore there were some gains to be made. But what ends up happening, Salah gets subbed before the 60-minute mark when Liverpool were drawing 1-1. So don't you know what the substitution was for? Quite crazy from Klopp to actually do this. Maybe he was resting him for the United game coming up this weekend. Now Liverpool did win at the end of the day, so there wasn't much in it, but for our FPL team, a goal or 2 would have been quite nice from Mo Salah. His effective ownership though, as mentioned, was kind of sky high, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but there was still some ground to be made up. Now we've spoken about kind of Saka and Haaland, so let's go over our 2 final forwards, and luckily both of them ended up returning. So the first player, Darwin Núñez, scored that very unlikely goal. If you guys haven't seen it, kind of blocked the Sheffield United goalkeeper's clearance, a classic no-look finish. So yes, that was quite lucky, had a few chances here and there, but fortunately in the last minute missed a big chance, and that took him out the bonus points. So only the 6 points from Darwin, but at least as I said he did score, and I guess so did Isaac. Now the Isaac goal was slightly more impressive, managed to round kind of 3 Everton defenders before putting the ball in the back of the net, but unfortunately that was the only attacking return. Now I did have an assist I think from an offside Dan Burn goal, but also missed a big chance apparently. But Isaac has been pretty good to us after bringing him in on that wild card, and seems like a strong performer for the future game weeks. So these 2 forward goals managed to take us to 61 points, and as mentioned, a very slight red arrow of about 1,000 places. Now in the comments down below, how did your game week go? Was it a red arrow? Was it a green arrow? Don't worry, you guys can flex or cry. We take both sides of the story. But now let's head on to game week 32. Now before we go over the actual transfer plan, I want to give you guys the context of my current starting 11. I thereafter will go over potential moves. As mentioned, 2 free transfers, have to make 1 free transfer. I would like some help though, as this week it's quite tough, so in the comments down below, as you guys see my team, you guys can recommend a transfer I might do. Just remember though, I've got 0.0 in the bank. Now the bench this week kind of picks itself. Liverpool for Garnacho and Onana, quite a tough game, and also bench Connor Bradley as he might actually be benched for this fixture. Even if he wasn't though, can't trust the Liverpool defense at the moment, and that's why I'm fine benching Connor Bradley. In the final option, Van Hecke against Arsenal, very strong attack, and Brighton are known for their clean sheets. Now the starting 11 does look better than the bench though. Got Petrovic against Sheffield United away. If they can't keep a clean sheet in this one, I've lost faith in that Chelsea defense completely, although that might have happened in game week 30 when they lost their clean sheet to Tem and Burnley. So let's see what this Chelsea defense can do. Fingers crossed it's going to be a clean sheet. This is why I've selected Petrovic. Now back 3 is going to start off with the Dayvy against Nottingham Forest. The clean sheet might not be there, but hopefully some attacking returns are. I'm actually backing Spurs to bounce back from these relatively bad results and do quite well at home. But as mentioned, Udogi's going nowhere, has the game week 35 double anyways, and this week is a pretty good fixture. The next up is going to be Gabriel against Brighton. Now he might be a player on the transfer out list, but as mentioned, Arsenal's defense is so good at the moment. One of the only teams I think can actually keep a clean sheet, and the nice thing about these plays is they are nailed, whereas it might be quite hard to predict which Man City defender is going to play. So I'm actually fine with starting Gabriel. The defensive department this season hasn't been that great, and I think there could be a clean sheet here in game week 32. Then the final option, Gusto with Sheffield United away as well. I do believe he should play, was sub before the full-time whistle, but it seems like he was being managed, and he's still a great player going forward. So yes, I've doubled up with that Chelsea defense, but if you're not going to against Sheffield United, when will you do it? Fingers crossed we finally get a double up on the clean sheet. Now midfield department, I'm going to start off with the Spurs option as well. Human Son, Nottingham Forest at home. Richarlison has been confirmed out this weekend, so it's going to be Son at centre forward yet again. Let's see how he performs this game week. Now I did mention that Son might actually be a CAMC option this week. I do believe he is going to be there, so if you guys want to be differential, you guys can also go for him. That Spurs attack though has put me off slightly. If they were a bit more fluid, a bit more free-flowing, Son might actually be the best CAMC option this game week. So you guys might be asking me, who do I have the CAMC armband currently? It's going to be Cole Palmer, as he has Sheffield United away, which is a great game. Historically this season, Palm was also done well against the newly promoted sides, and I expect to be captain by the most people. So yes, might be a little bit knee-jerk after getting 2 penalties in Game Week 31, but you can't question his form at the current moment. Another captaincy option might be Mo Salah. He has United away. On paper, probably a tougher game, but when you guys see all the injuries that United do have in the defensive department, and you guys just know United have been struggling this season. So Mo Salah might be up there after his kind of early sub, definitely going to start and play the majority of the game, just depends what Liverpool's side kind of pitches up. Then the last midfielder is going to be Bukayo Saka. Arteta wasn't giving anything away in the press conference today, basically said that there was a training session coming up later today, but just remember Saka did train before Game Week 31. So at the moment might be the most likely transfer if I want to do it, and hopefully get some more concrete news about his fitness. Then our front department, I'm going to start all 3 forwards. Erling Haaland against Crystal Palace away. Now who would have thought that Erling Haaland against Crystal Palace might not be the favourable option for the Camsey armband. To be honest, he was my bus captain heading into this game week, and that's why I might edge for the Camsey armband to be on him once again. I just think after his rest midweek, he's definitely going to start. Crystal Palace aren't the best defensive side, and the Man City side can be quite ruthless. The only question mark might be the fact that they got Real Madrid next midweek and then the following midweek, so his minutes might be managed if they are leading. At least Darwin Núñez should be nailed to start against United after he's been on pretty good form. There might be a world where I do see Gakpo starting up front, but I just believe Darwin Núñez, it's his spot to lose, and United's a great fixture even though it's away. So pretty happy that I do have him for this game week. He's going to have to perform quite well, as I do expect Dom Solanke to perform quite well against Luton. Then our final striker, Isaac, has Fulham away. Fulham at the moment are going through a little bit of a weird patch. If you guys didn't see, their manager subbed 3 players off at the 30-minute mark. So let's hope that it's going the same way against Newcastle. Also a player though in great form, I expect Newcastle to at least score in this fixture. So let's see how Isaac does. But as you guys can see, the starting 11 actually looks pretty strong this game week with 2 free transfers and 0.0 in the bank. I can't really see that many moves. Would have probably upgraded Bradley if I had some money in the bank, but I don't really like any other options at his price tag or cheaper. But let's look at my current transfer plan. So at the moment, as mentioned, 2 transfers, 0.0 in the bank, I have to make a move, and therefore the most likely one might actually be taking Saka out. Now the reason for this is that with his fitness concerns, the Champions against Bayern is coming up, the minutes might be managed, and if we do get news he misses Brighton, he's an easy transfer out. Now my only concern, if he does play, he's a quality player, this might come back to bite us, and that's why I'll be taking him out for Phil Foden. Now the reason for this is that Man City played the first game of Game Week 32, and therefore it is likely that we get some early team news. So I think the current situation is if we do get news that Phil Foden starts this game, this is an easy transfer, and then we just hold thumbs that he starts the Luton game in Game Week 33. I probably want Phil Foden for Game Week 37's bench boost anyways, and that's why I might pull the trigger this week with 2 free transfers. An extra bonus is that Foden is kind of 1 more cheaper than Saka, so next week we have some money to play in the bank, but this is all reliant on if we get early team sheet news. Now if we don't get early team sheet news, I might be forced to make another transfer, and this might be defensively. So on my list at the current moment is going to be Man City, as mentioned, double Game Week 37's bench boost, and there's some great fixtures coming up, and therefore Guardiola might be an enticing option. The reason for this is that Nathan Ake and Kyle Walker are currently out, but my only concern is how long that's going to be for, as when they do come back, Guardiola might lose his spot. But he is quite expensive, and therefore the downgrade will be for Gabriel. Like Saka, probably would have taken him out next week anyways. The only other option I guess is a Dogi, but I'm going to keep him for double Game Week 35, and also like Saka, this move could come back to bite us. So let's just say that Foden misses out and Guardiola does start, I will be doing this move, but I do prefer the attacking transfer to be honest. Now if you guys have any other recommendations, post them in the comments down below. Maybe you guys see something that I don't, but this transfer plan is quite a tough one. And if you guys need any help with your transfer plans, comment them down below or my Discord server. As mentioned in the introduction, I might not do a deadline stream for Game Week 32, but I'll try to help you guys out as far as possible over my Twitter page and also my Discord. But this is basically going to wrap up the video guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I might see you in the deadline stream, but I might not. If I don't, good luck for Game Week 32. But for the time being, I'm your signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.